Welcome back to this bonus episode of Benny's Custom Works. Today we're back on the K truck. We've got this cool Tacho that I've just got from Japan. We're going to fit it up. We've also got some new mirrors. It doesn't have any external mirrors and it kind of does need those for Australian road use. So we've got some awesome mirrors from Japan. And stick around Patreons because right at the end we've got a bit of a bonus for you guys. We're just going to change to a single plug on the Tacho. I've just got some Deutsch connectors here in the kit. It's pretty simple, there's only 4 wires. So we've got power, ground, signal and light. Obviously it wires straight into the car. I don't actually know what this is from. It is an aftermarket Tacho, but fair chance it was probably originally on a motorbike. The listing on the auctions in Japan actually said it was currently set up for a 2-cylinder 4-stroke engine, so perfect for the little truck. The seller also tested it on their K car, which was a 2-cylinder 4-stroke car, and it was operational in the photo, so that's pretty exciting, and hopefully it still works when we get it in the car. I'm not exactly sure where we're going to mount it yet because I'm really not keen on drilling or cutting anything on the dash. We've obviously mentioned that a fair few times now. But yeah, the goal of today is more or less to wire it in and make sure it actually does work before we go sort of modifying anything to mount it. So we'll do that, and then once I'm happy with this, we'll chuck the mirrors on and then on to the surprise. I was a little bit too prepared. Having a look under the dash, there's actually a lot of wiring that we can just plug straight into some connectors under the dash. There's an accessory socket, for whatever reason, that's already got power and ground under the dash. So we're going to just put a spade terminal straight on this that we can plug straight into that connector without even having to muck around with that extension loom. So the only wire we'll probably end up running from that all the way to the other side of the car will be the Tacho signal. And the illumination will just pick up under the dash as well, so we may even be able to just run that to one of those plugs as well without having to run the whole thing. So I'm going to also shorten this little sheath so that it's only kind of 100mm long, something like that. And that'll give us plenty of wiring under the dash and it's still covered over. We've got our dash cluster out just to find illumination wire. It came out really simply, just 4 screws plus a speedo cable, and then obviously our little harness connector. So I haven't got anything turned on at the moment, so there should be no power to any of that connector. I'm just quickly going to have a look and see if there's constant power to anything. Cool, we got no power there, so I'm just going to turn our lights on and find our power, which is there. Make sure there's no other ones that are active. No, so we've got power to red with a green trace. So that red with a green trace will splice a little wire, our power supply for the light circuit for the Tacho into that wire. Just got our little green wire here. We've already run. It's in that. I've actually just put a pin into the back of that stock connector. There was one empty spot open for that, so just quickly run this wire through the dash. It's important too when you're running wires through the dashboard, even though this is quite a simple car, making sure that you're not sort of running cabling through stuff like the back of the stereo or around the choke cable or through air conditioning or heated ducts or anything like that. Obviously, the newer the car, the more complex stuff like that's going to be, but if you can just have a nice clear path for your cable to run through, and we're literally just going to run it onto that connector and crimp it. We're not going to solder it or anything, so it's nice and simple, and then it's got a good join. I wonder if old mate flicked it in the photo, because look at this. If you flick it quickly, like if you're quick enough to take a photo, you could flick it like that, like it's, because in the photo it was only at like 800 RPM and you can flick it by hand. Oh, that old chestnut. Well, that's disappointing. Well, I'm glad we spent an hour putting that in. That really hasn't gone to plan at all. This was the wire to go to the ground side of the coil, which signals the tacho. I thought, just on the off chance, before I go running the thing the whole way through the car, I just hook it up to the coil to test, to the tacho and the coil to test it. Unfortunately, the tacho doesn't seem to work. I'm giving it the ground signal that it needs from the coil, and it doesn't move at all. I've got a bit of a theory that maybe the seller gave it a quick flick in his hand, because you can make it jump sort of up to around 1100 RPM on the thing, on the gauge, when you sort of take a quick photo of it. I don't know. We've wired it up as per the information supplied, so yeah, bit of a bummer. It's a pretty cool looking tacho, so I'm just going to leave it there until I actually work out what I'm going to do with it. I may send it off and see if we can actually repair it, but I don't know. I'm kind of a little bit at a loss. Today's been a bit of a flop all around so far, so we're going to move on to the next thing now. I'll put the seats back in, and we're going to put the mirrors on. Hopefully that fits, otherwise I'm just going to go and cry in the corner quietly. But onwards and upwards. These are the mirrors we've got from Japan. They're supposed to be for a Porta, but after the auction fails that we've already had today, I'm now a bit dubious as to if anything's ever going to work again. So we're going to put the passenger side one on first. It's actually a pretty well made little thing. I think they were originally actually a motorbike mirror, and then they've made their own stems and stuff for them. So it's a nice little billet machine base plate, and then a solid aluminium rod that they've sort of bent and threaded to suit. It's a pretty neat thing. So they even come with little gaskets to put between the mirror and the body. So we'll give this a crack and see if we can put something else in the bin that doesn't fit today. It would appear that our luck may have finally changed. But in saying that, we've only put one of the two mirrors on. The one on that side probably doesn't fit or something. Got another little gasket for the driver's side. Same thing, little, what I can only assume was originally a motorbike mirror. And a aluminium angled bracket there. It's pretty neat. Let's see if we can go 2 for 2. The tables have turned. I'm a little bit sad that the most successful part of the day is that 2 mirrors fit the car. 10 minutes screwing mirrors on, and that's the only thing that's worked. It's actually suited, I think, better than the plastic mirrors these had originally, because this is a late 80s model that had the big rectangular ugly plastic mirrors, which, I don't know, looked weird on it. So going the polished stainless ones is a bit of a throwback to the old school, but I think it looks better. I'm sure someone will disagree, but feel free to write in the comments if you don't like it. Okay guys, this is it. This is our first Patreon draw. For those of you that aren't aware, we do have a Patreon. Thanks to everyone who's supporting it. Thanks also to everyone who's in the top tier. One of the perks that you guys get is a quarterly draw. So our first ever quarterly draw is this steering wheel. So anyone that's familiar with the Cresta, this is actually the steering wheel that we went 839 at 156. We have gone back to the original Nardi now, but for a while we were running this, and this is actually the fastest the Cresta's ever gone was with this steering wheel. We've also actually got 2 Cresta shirts. We will check with the winner which sizes they want. We can do 2 different sizes, however you guys want it. We've got from small all the way to 5XL. We've still got plenty of those in stock on the BCW store as well. So if you don't win one and you do want one, check out the BCW store. Got all the entrants in this magical pod filter of death, which was also on the Cresta at some point, funnily enough. And the winner is Martin Johansson. We'll be in touch via Patreon to get your details, and expect a care package from us very soon. Well, that wraps up our bonus K-Truck episode for this week. Congratulations again to Martin, all the way from Norway, winning our first Patreon prize. Yeah, pretty awesome, and it's actually something that I think is pretty special, so hopefully he enjoys it as well. Thanks to everyone that's supporting us on Patreon. Thanks also to everyone who's bought a shirt or any merch off the BCW store. It all supports us and it helps us make cool videos. Unfortunately today didn't go quite as planned. The Tacho's dead in this, but we got some pretty sweet mirrors, so all's well that ends well. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.